Greetings and welcome. I'm so excited. We are continuing to do our interviews in this brand new group that's all about unity for wellness and peace. And we are honored that you are all here. This is our second interview today, and we just can't wait to introduce you to this amazing lady. We are calling this Celebrating Changemakers because we know there's so many changemakers out here who are out here to create a global impact. And maybe that's you as well. So today, hallelujah, we have my friend Kimarie Machinga, and it has been so long since we've connected. So I am happy you're here with me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It has been a long time.
Has, it has. And, I mean, just the fact that we've been even out of North Carolina for 6 years doesn't even seem possible, but it is. So let's jump right into it because you are an amazing, I would say, light worker. That's a term that a lot of people in this group are very comfortable with. So please, please tell everybody about the amazing work you do, and even more importantly, why you're passionate about doing it. Go for it.
Well, that's a big question. I love the name of my company is Brave Breakthroughs, and the reason why I named it that is because I know the amount of bravery and vulnerability it takes to really be seen and to really be for someone to hold your hand to take you kind of out of that darkness, that dark place. Many people that I work with, that I've worked with through the years, have been people that have struggled with addiction and anxiety, depression, insomnia, but also people who are just having a crossroads in their life, which really also includes all those people, right? It's like they're in that brink of change. They're in that breakdown before the breakthrough, hence the name of the program. That doesn't mean that you have to be in full depression to work with me by any means, because I work in leadership. I teach in places like, again, I'm losing my I'm tripping over my words. I do leadership. I do in many different forms. So it really is just about meeting people and teaching them how to manage their energy by noticing their blind spots, noticing where they are investing their time, energy, and we only have a certain amount, right? So a lot of times we think we're investing our energy in the direction of our goals, dreams, priorities, and core values, when in fact there's kind of a lens that we're not even aware of, that our circumstances go through, that take us into a more fear stress response, and then that will pull us in the opposite direction and we don't even realize it. So that's why I do a lot of leadership training. And I work with high level professionals, which I like to refer to as professional problem solvers, people like you and I who help others, who everyone comes to, but then who do we turn to? Where do we, how often do we run on empty? Or do we think that if it's either or, we're going to give because giving is what you should do. But then we run on empty, right?
Yep.
So it's that putting the oxygen mask on first and it not being selfish, realizing that as we put the oxygen mask on, then we're completely fulfilled, and then we give from overflow instead of from a state of emptiness. So I'm really passionate because I see so many people suffering. I see so many people suffering, and I've been there. And I know what the bottom feels like. I know
Wow.
intimately what it feels like, and I know how to get out. And I can speak that language for people. So when I speak the language of what's going on in your head that you don't tell anybody, then you know that I've been there, because you don't read that in a book.
Mm, that is true. That is true. And I do know one of those blind spots that so many of the change makers have is that they do overgive and they don't necessarily really embrace the whole receiving aspect. And that's a big one. But I'm curious, have you noticed another really large, really significant blind spot that people are typically getting tripped up in?
Well, so let's just give an example. If we're, I like to use the example of making deposits and withdrawals, right? So just using the example of emotions, right? So we have high level emotions that replenish our energy, and we have low level emotions that drain our energy, right? So just giving the example of the world today or our children. I don't want to make this a political talk by any shape of the
No,
imagination.
no, no.
Okay. But if we were to look outward and say, oh my goodness, and then the first thing we do is either plug into like sending compassion, sending understanding, having faith in what's possible, or we worry and we start to thinking it's the same thing.
Mm,
However, one side of the spectrum is a very high vibration, and one is very low and will drain your cup.
mm,
But not only will it drain your cup, when we send energy is a form of prayer, right? Just like we send prayer out. When we send our energy out, whatever we're sending out, is a form of prayer, or if we can look at it as laws of attraction, right? Whatever we put out, like whatever we focus on, we bring upon, right? So all of that together, however you want to look at it, from a religious prayer point, or we're going to look at it as energy, or we're going to look at it as laws of attractions, all the same thing. So whatever we put out, whatever, if we're sending out worry, we are draining our cup, we are holding that space for them, and we are attracting more things to worry about.
mm, mm,
Versus we are in compassion, we are in understanding, and we are trusting this process. We know that if we're brought to it, we will be brought through it. We don't know how, but we know if we look back on our past, we've been brought through a lot of things that we didn't know the answers to.
mhm,
And it's
mhm,
holding that possibility, it's holding that belief that we will be taken through this. We don't know how, but we're going to stay in this vibration because anything from this vibration is going to hold up the other person or people,
mm,
and it's going to attract more things of that vibration.
mm. Absolutely. I get it. And it reminds me of some of what my husband and my message has been lately too, because when you get into that worry space, and we know if we think about this at all, we know that worry space just drains the energy right out of you. I've heard people call it negative goal setting. And
Yeah.
that's really what it ends up being, right? But,
Yeah.
so many people are just looking at all this stuff out here and they're spending all this energy worrying about it and worrying about it. And I keep saying, but can you control any of it? Not really. Not unless you go here first. And the control has to come from whatever it is you perceive that you can be creating as even potentially a solution, right?
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's like the illusion. It's falling into the illusion of out there, of separate, of everything is
Mhm,
separate, everything is random, and everything is happening to us rather than for us,
mm,
So it's really
yeah,
a perception. It's the duality of this life, right? The duality of this life is that, we're spiritual beings in a human experience, right?
mhm,
As
yes.
spiritual beings, everything we're whole and perfect, but in this human experience is to understand duality and polarity. In order to do that, we have to have these contrasts to be able to be in the game of this life.
Mhm,
You know?
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
being,
Um,
yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, it's just another question had come to mind because, I've bumped into a lot of people out here who, they really don't believe that it's possible to create this change that we're talking about at, like in the upper echelons of big companies and things like that. But it sounds like you're proving people wrong on that. You want to mention just a little bit about some of the types of organizations that you've had the opportunity to work with?
I would love to because I tripped over it before. So I have. And it's been brought to me because, to be honest, I have to tell you, I've always been a little intimidated in wanting to share a holistic, metaphysical minded approach with people such as, physicians, or, the medical community, or like attorneys. Like, to me, they're all kind of in that separation, kind of either or. I don't know. That's been my experience, been my thought process, or my fear. But in my experience, I've been attracting these people. So I ended up doing a accredited course for attorneys on stress management. I've worked in UNC Pharmacy School as the chief officer of well-being for teaching them stress management through these tools, and mind-blowing breakthroughs right before your eyes. Like in a 4 hour workshop, or a 2 hour workshop, we've had major breakthroughs. So that's the exciting part, because it's fun, it's lighthearted, it makes sense, it's playful, but it's deep. It goes right to the source. It cuts right through the illusion, cuts right through the blind spots, and allows you to see in real time, with physical strength, what you're doing to yourself. Even by a thought, it diminishes your physical strength or increases your physical strength. So it's powerful. I've worked with APNC, which is Addiction Professionals of North Carolina, with United Way. And honestly, the way I got in with each one of them is working with the director first, like private sessions, because they have to they have to understand it viscerally, right?
Yes.
Because if we try
Yes.
to get heady with it and we try to sell what I do, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm still trying to sell what I do, right? Because but when they have the experience and they're taken through the experience of connecting with the highest part of who they are, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just guiding them there. And then, they can see it from that space of wholeness rather
Mm,
than disconnected and kind of fragmented off, which is where, again, depression, anxiety, insomnia, and addiction derive from. When we
mm,
feel separate, when we're in the future and we're in the past, but we're never in that present moment going within.
mm, mm. I like how that feels. You're making some great change, some great, helping to create transformation, I guess is a good way to put it. And we need more and more of that on the planet, without a doubt. So obviously you are an amazing solopreneur out here. Where is your vision at for the future right now with the work you're doing? Do you see yourself working with other people in any way?
I would love to. I would love to work. I just feel very called to be on a bigger scale, doing speaking events, doing workshops, doing whatever. I do videos on YouTube, whatever it takes, but I do feel the collaboration. I do feel it's time, and I think that's why you and I reconnected, and I've actually been on several interviews already this year where people are just finding me and we're finding each other and saying, "Okay, now is the time." People
Yes.
are ready to for this. So it's really us energetically holding hands, and because everybody needs to hear things in the way they need to hear it. So that's the good news about us all having our own flavor, our own unique piece, because who resonates with me may resonate differently with you, or vice versa. So we can really lift each other, and trusting that we're never competing, right? Because there's only one of each of us, and we can all work together and have that beautiful tapestry and that richness of support. And again, if you think about that energy, like just plugging into that belief is making a ripple effect. So I love that you're doing this. You're making a ripple effect by highlighting, you guys do this work, and you're highlighting that we need to create this community.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And what you just said reminds me of what a friend of mine has said many times, and I hope and pray more people will come to understand this, because you're right. I don't even believe there is truly such a thing as competition, because his phrase, and I don't know if he created it or found it from somebody else, but he said everybody can hear somebody, but not everybody can hear the same somebody.
That's right. And that's
you
really
know?
it. That's so true. And that's why it's like it's
Like
funny how
it's
like that one book that changed your life. You're always trying to like shove it down everyone's throat, and other people are like, I just don't get it, like because they're not ready. Or they
that's
don't,
right.
or they already have done that. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mhm.
it's so funny. Yeah. There's not enough light workers, and every one of us, I do feel, are in their own way. Even if we're a garbage man, we could be completely on purpose, completely, touching people in a way that is extremely powerful in the way they do it. It doesn't matter what we're doing. In some way, we can be spreading our light, our wisdom, and our love out to the world.
Yes. Yes. And that is another part of our message to people. I tell people all the time, we all were born with a piece of a super puzzle, that if we all were building our piece and clicking it all together, we'd already be living in a world with plenty of health, plenty of wealth, and plenty of peace. And if you're not seeing that in your world, you might still be sitting on your piece.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's really great. That's really great because I use the puzzle pieces a lot too. So I really love that visual. Or the
Yep.
other the piece the thing that I've said about the puzzle piece is sometimes our puzzle piece is like, this big, like three, say,
Yes.
and we're in a corner of the puzzle piece.
Yes.
We're not expanding enough to take up the whole piece and
Mm,
allowing like that part of us to be shown. And I think that's the other thing that you're highlighting too is, and you said it earlier, was that this is the year, right? It's we got to,
yes.
right? It's
This
like
is it.
stop sitting on the corner of your puzzle piece and
Yep.
allow yourself to like spread out to the whole piece and really show up in a bigger way.
That is it. That is it. And I've always said my husband and I are really out here to be more like system builders. And I just got this visual that came to me. We've been building the borders of a very large puzzle, and now we're looking for all the people to bring their pieces into the border.
Oh, I love that. I would actually have that up somewhere. That's a great visual.
And it's giving me goosebumps.
That's a great visual. It's like a container. That's a great visual. I love it.
Yep, yep. So we've been building that border, and now we just gotta get all the puzzle pieces together. And I hope that's part of what this group helps to do, because again, just seeing the amazing people who've jumped in just in the last couple of days, and all the people who are saying, please, please interview me. I'm like, all right, we got some cool people here. Let's go do it. So that is my wish for all of us. So please tell everybody, how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more or possibly be a collaborator or whatever?
Well, I am on LinkedIn as Dr. Kimarie. It's Dr. Kimarie Machinga. I also have a YouTube channel, which is just Dr. Kimarie, DrKimarie, and that, all one word. Um, and my website is Brave Breakthroughs with an S.com. And you can also email me at support@bravebreakthroughs.com.
Ah, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome. So thank you, thank you. So honored and blessed to have you here today. Is there any final thought you would like to leave with all of our viewers?
Yes, I would like to say this. We are here for a very small amount of time, and life can be very confusing and it can be very heavy at times. But number one, I am here. Even if you don't think you know me, I am holding you. And I want to remind you of who you are and that you are unique and powerful and special, and the world needs you just the way you are. So allow yourself to put down the judgments and just love that little boy or girl inside and just show up because we love you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Kimarie, and we will definitely be needing to stay connected here over this year and see where all things go. So thanks to everybody who watches this, and Kimarie, I'm going to ask you, make sure you get the link to this, and I want you to put your contact information under the video too, so that people can easily find you. So have a great one, everybody. We'll see you in the next interview. Take care.